What is going on, everybody? I am back with another video, and today I'm here to talk about the Zero Tolerance 0470. So first off, this is a sink-ish design, and it features a 3.4-inch blade, 4.4 overall closed, and has a satin finish, KVT ball bearings, and made into good old USA. So this was a gift to me from Jeff Juice during our last Christmas exchange, and thank you, Jeff. You're awesome. So going over the physical features here, it's pretty apparent that they went with a very nice, Sink-ish Design went with a very nice streamlined, minimalistic kind of approach, and I am absolutely in love with this carbon fiber inlay here. Got a bit of jimping on the back, and just a beautiful design overall. Now I have carried this and used this. The deployment was very like stiff. It was extremely stiff. It was very hard to open, and like most ZT knives of today, if you put any kind of pressure on the locking bar itself, you'll never ever open. So it's very very different from the Zero Tolerance of yesteryear. The best example would be the 0560. This is the CBCF version. So this one actually has, right out of the gate, the 0560 deploys very smoothly, and you don't really hurt your fingers trying to deploy this knife open. However, you can shake this knife open. So what I've noticed that Zero Tolerance has been doing lately is that it has been making their detents harsher and harsher. But that's the one thing to be expected. You just got to kind of work with it and kind of deploy it and work in that detent, so it becomes a little bit more smoother over time. Now it has taken me quite a bit of opening and closings to get this to where it actually would just deploy, on the first try, without having to tear up my fingers too much. Left-handed is much easier, simply because your thumb just doesn't rest on this as much. I can just rest it right here and it flies open. However, right hand is a little bit harder, since I have to have kind of purchase on the back, which I just use the pocket clip to do. But it has been broken out, it's been broken in, and it is greatly reduced that detent. Blade centering seems to be dead on. I do like the fact that they didn't make the design does not incorporate a giant flipper tab on here, so really this design is more of a rock back kind of an action rather than push down. The other thing I kind of wish this design had was that the other side would have maybe a little bit of a carbon fiber inlay. It probably would have added to the already hefty price tag of this knife, but it just seems pretty blah just on this side, while the show side is extremely beautiful, very well done, and the kind of, what do you call this, like marbled carbon fiber, or shredded carbon fiber, I'm not too sure what the official name is. Very nicely done from this side. You can see there is a spot here to, I'm assuming, reverse the pocket clip. So pocket clip is unfortunately rather blah design by comparison to the rest of the knife itself. The kind of nice angular geometrical shapes of the knife, and then you got this weird pocket clip that has, I'm not really too sure what you call this, kind of a little sweeping shape here, and there's no angles but little angles on the pocket clip itself. It just doesn't really feel like it actually goes with the knife itself. So, but that's just my opinion. It is functional. It does leave a little bit protruding, so you're able to pull this out of your pocket relatively easily. Nicely jimped, by the way. This is pretty decently cut, and this stuff back here is actually just quite smooth, so not much to go on there. And then you have a back spacer. It has a little bit of ridges on there as well, a little bit harder cut, and a tiny little lanyard opening here in case you want to thread something through that. The tip of the knife back here does not protrude, so you will not, well, I won't say will, but or won't. But it probability is you probably won't get anything caught in there. It's pretty well recessed. I love these striations throughout the design of the knife. It's absolutely beautiful. So ergonomics, pretty decent. I mean, it's very well shaped here. I mean, as any knife can be. Fully functional. I got medium-sized hands, and pretty comfy for me to hold on to. So let's go on to the topic of lockup. Now, lockup is fantastic. You can kind of hear that sound. Probably blew out the microphones there, but it doesn't have like it doesn't have a muted lockup. And going back to the past here, we've got the 0560, and lockup is great, but because there's no real huge detent on it, it doesn't really just fly open, and the sound is a little bit more muted. By the same token, the 562 is a little bit harsher of a lockup, more closely to the Sinkovich, the 0470, than it is to the 0560. But both of these feature a very light detent, actually, by comparison. 562 is slightly more, has a slightly more harsher detent than the 560 does. But either way, both these were very easy to deploy from the get-go. I had no problems with it whatsoever. But this has a nice crispy, snappy sound. However, the most crispy sounding lockup would have to be this right here. So I don't know if you could hear that, but the 0220 is by far, in my collection at least, the heaviest out of all of these, by the way, but also the most crispiest sounding knife ever. And that you'll probably never hear the difference, simply because I'm looking at the meter at the back of the camera here, and it basically blew out the microphone's threshold. Very nice sound, and I have to say that all of these are extremely well, certainly good at the flipping action. You probably won't be disappointed. I will, however, say that in terms of weight, you're definitely going to like the 470 over the 220, simply because this thing is a really heavy beast in the pocket. So finally, let's go ahead and talk about the comparisons of the 470 to the 450. So, I'm sorry, 452. The 452 is quite a larger knife. It is about a 4-inch long blade, I believe. It is enormous. And then here you can see it side by side. Let's see if I can get them both on frame. So it's interesting because the 452 incorporates such a massive blade in a very small, well, actually, what's the better word for it? It basically has a really good blade to handle ratio, where the tip of the knife actually comes all the way to the end there, which is very dangerous because I have gotten my fingers caught on here before. So just be aware of that. The 470 offers the same kind of action, albeit in a much more manageable size, in my opinion. 3.4 is a 3.25 to 3.4 inch blade is quite a nice size to carry on a daily basis. Not too sure about 4.1, which is I think what this is, the 452. But the action on this is insane. And both these required a certain amount of break-in time before they were allowed to be able to flip open this quickly and this fast. So very interesting offerings from Zero Tolerance. I can recommend both of these, but I would actually recommend the 470 more, simply because of the more manageable size, the excellent flipping action. The flipper tab, which you can see here, does not protrude as much, because this occasionally does catch when you're trying to deploy it out of your pocket. And it's just a more classier, elegant design, at least from this side of the scales. On the other side, it's they're both about the same. They're really kind of blah, and not much going on. Again, really wish they put some kind of an inlay on this side to kind of offset the other side, but I understand that's probably going to up the cost, and who wants to pay more? As Zero Tolerance knives are expensive enough already for consumers that don't want to go to like a mid-tech or full custom, but just want like a average consumer knife. This is a quite a pricey knife. So anyways, that's just my take on this. If you guys got any questions or comments, please leave it below. Aside from that, take care, have a nice day, and I'll catch you all on the next one.